AI is incredibly powerful technology, with the potential to shape society in profound ways, and, with proper care, unlock meaningful benefits for people everywhere. Still, some appear to be racing forward, seemingly pursuing AI for the sake of AI, without clear regard for the people, all of us, that it's ultimately meant to serve. At Apple, our mission...
That's Apple at WWDC yesterday. And you could see him very clearly in there drawing a very sharp line between themselves and everybody else in AI. Let's get into what else happened at this event, starting from where they start talking about how their new models are going to work, which is what Siri is based on. So let's look into that.
Smarter and more useful. So let's get started with our new architecture. It's centered around you and the Apple products that you use every day. And at the heart of Apple Intelligence are Apple Foundation models. This year, we embarked on a deep collaboration with Google, leveraging the technologies behind their Gemini family of models. Together, we created the next generation of Apple Foundation models for our integrated Apple Intelligence experiences, and adapted these new models to run on-device and on servers using private cloud computing.
So really interesting there that Apple, that traditionally has been the company that prides itself on building everything in-house, just told you that its next generation AI models were built in a deep collaboration with Google, right? And the Gemini team. So I think it's totally reasonable that they would partner with Google, given their Google's lead in this. But to take a dig at the rest of the AI industry up front, and then at the same time reveal that they're actually partnering up with Google, I thought that was worth calling out. And I think ultimately they are still running it on Apple's own chips. It's just different from how Apple has done things in the past, and it's worth noting.
Privacy first. Today, many AI providers talk about privacy, but by default, most of them retain your personal interactions, leaving the onus on you. At Apple, we believe privacy in AI is non-negotiable. Apple Intelligence uses on-device processing as well as private cloud compute, which ensures your data is not stored or accessible to Apple or anyone else.
So the claim here from Apple is that everything that is done on their AI models is being done either on device or it's staying in something that they called private cloud compute, and that even outside experts can come in and verify that Apple isn't keeping that data. And if that holds up, I think that's a pretty meaningful distinction between all the other chatbots that exist and between what Apple is providing here. You know, Apple has had a strong track record in privacy, so they should be given credit where that is due. And I think if this is working as they're saying that it's going to be working, that's potentially a really strong privacy feature here for their users. Now, I want to move on to where they start talking about Siri, because I thought that was an interesting, again, like their personal assistant being revamped after all these years.
And today, we're introducing an entirely new version of Siri, unlocked by Apple Intelligence. We call it Siri AI. Siri AI uses our new Apple Intelligence capabilities, and you can tap into them in the same ways you access Siri today, like by saying, "Hey Siri." This includes personal context understanding.
So, you know, the reveal is the headline, right? That Siri AI is coming out. And I think when you go into the details here, it gets a little bit clearer what the proposition is, which is it is in beta still. It's going to be launching later this year. It's going to be launching in English first, and it's not going to be launching in the EU or China at launch time. So I think that the assistant that a lot of people were looking for, that's what they're positing they've built, but it's still many months out for most people, most internet users. I mean, think about how many internet users are there in the EU, right? And so it looks promising in the demos, and the real test will happen, of course, once we have it in our hands and the beta is out for most people. Plenty of people will be watching to see if this is a real improvement over their prior experiences with Apple AI, which we all know have been pretty wrought with different kinds of, let's say, quirks in the past.
Passwords already alerts you about weak and compromised passwords, but going to each site and changing them can take time. Now, you can automatically update eligible accounts to strong passwords with just a tap. Behind the scenes, Passwords uses Apple Intelligence and Safari to agentically take action on your behalf, securely navigating through each website to sign in and fix your passwords.
So what she's saying there is when they detect that you have weak passwords for a website, and if you opt in to fixing that, your phone will go to a website, it'll log in as you, and it'll update your password on its own. That's what she means by an agentic update. That's an AI agent taking action on real sites for you on your behalf. I think this could be a genuinely useful way to clean up weak passwords, and it's worth understanding like how it works fully before you switch it on, since anything that can log into a website as yourself is a pretty powerful permission to be giving. We all also have seen in our own experiences that agentic experiences can have their fair share of usability issues, but Apple must have tested them at least to some degree before they would come out and release this in production. Now, the next one is one that's been getting quite a lot of buzz in social media, so let's listen in.
In addition to the images you dream up, we're giving you brand new Apple Intelligence capabilities for the photos you capture. Step to the right, or you missed eye contact with your subject by a fraction of a second. Now, with spatial reframing, you can fix all these things after the photo was taken. Let me show you how it works. Let's take a look at a picture I recently took of my kids. I love this cute photo of my son and daughter celebrating their last day of school, but I wish I'd spent more time thinking about the framing. When I tap Edit, you'll see a new Tools option in the lower right. Here I'll find all the editing features that use our Apple Intelligence image models and private cloud compute, including spatial reframing. Let's tap Reframe. Once the image loads, you'll see that the UI is super simple. You can interact with the photo directly to adjust the framing.
So basically, it shows how you can change the framing of a photo after you've taken it. And you can shift the angle as if you had moved the camera, and the software fills in to whatever comes into view. Now, that's impressive. It's also kind of worth thinking about that any of those surroundings that are being created are just AI generated, right? It's taking inspiration from the environment to fill in the missing pixels. And so it's not really a real background or real photo. But in some cases, in some instances, it might be a useful piece of technology to have. Now, I really want to play something that I think is most relevant to most people, which is the performance of their latest iOS updates on older devices. You'll find her talking about that here.
I'll just name a few. First, iPhone and iPad apps launch up to 30% faster. It's kind of unbelievable that it could get even faster, but the team found a way to preload the key data apps need when you open them, so they're ready to go. This applies to third-party apps too. And content across the system loads faster. For instance, after you shot some new photos, it used to take a beat for them to load in your library. Now, new photos appear up to 70% faster. And when you share those photos or other files with a friend using AirDrop, they'll transfer up to 80% faster. And browsing files and
So overall, she's saying apps are opening 30% faster. Photos would load about 70% faster. AirDrop is up to 80% quicker. I hope they've also worked on the reliability of that, like MKBHD was pointing out. And the best part about these improvements is what she's saying is that all of this goes back to the iPhone 11, which is a phone from 2019. So this is probably the least flashy thing that was announced today, but it probably impacts the most number of people if they can really improve performance on these older models rather than, let's say, adding more and more visual clutter, which can tend to happen, which can actually reduce performance on these older models. So let's hear what she says about that.
View scheduler. This year, we further optimized it, so it's even more efficient when handling performance-intensive workloads. And not only that, but we also figured out a way to bring it to older models, all the way back to iPhone 11. And yes, that does mean that iOS 27 is supported on iPhone 11 and all of the same iPhone models as iOS 26.
So I think that's genuinely worth appreciating, is keeping performance of old models in mind as they have made these improvements. And, the proof is going to be in the usage once we actually get the product and how it feels in our hands on older devices.
When a child finds an app they want, they need to ask for permission. Parents then decide, with helpful context, if it's the right app for their child, and review these requests right in Messages with Ask to Buy. This year, we're expanding what parents can approve beyond apps to the web with Ask to Browse. Kids need to ask when they want to view a new website. Parents can take a closer look before approving. This works seamlessly across iPhone, iPad, and Mac with Safari. Ask to Browse and Ask to Buy are both on by default for kids under 13.
So what she says there is that kids can be set up so that they need to ask before opening a new website or adding a new contact, and there are screen time allowances by category that Apple has built in coordination and in partnership with the American Academy of Pediatrics. And you can debate, whether Apple should be the one drawing these lines, but at least it's letting you set them if you as a parent or as a guardian want those in place for the kids. So that's WWDC. It's a strong, polished keynote. It's also a long advertisement in a way, so it's worth noting that when we're going through all of this content. And the two things I would flag are the ones that got probably the least attention. One was that Apple's AI is built on the foundations laid by Google, with Google's Gemini team. And second is that the Siri upgrade is in beta, and it's going to take a while for it to roll out fully. It's also worth noting that a few of the AI features have some kinds of daily limits or may require an iCloud Plus plan. If you want to run a keynote or any longer video through this kind of check yourself, I would recommend you check out our tool at skim.plus. Tell us whose announcement we should look at next, and in the meantime, subscribe.